Welcome to Questions from the Web with Graham Home and Dr. Andrew Wilson. This week's question is from Matt.
Matt this week wants to know, hi Doc and G, I'm a bit concerned with house price, house price, building price increases. Should I be waiting for what I'm hearing is a slight downturn? I'm looking to buy around Brisbane north side. Should I wait or will things rebound? Now, I mean, this is the same, it's kind of the same question we get every week, Doc Nelly. People saying, should I wait? But looking at this slide you have here, short-term housing market offsets for rate rises. You've got migrant surges. You've got low supply, high demand, international students. You've got first home buyers. You've got investors, downside, tight rental market, low construction development approval, increased. I mean, when I'm looking at all these points you have here, Doc, I'd say to Matt that I would say take a long-term approach and that you might be waiting, hoping for a 3 or 4% decrease because that's what the news told you. But the data and what's on screen now, Doc, says that's not going to happen, especially knowing North Brisbane. It's a price point area. Yeah. It's a price point area.
Yeah, that's right. And the point is you've got to pick your property as well. I mean, isn't the most important thing to find the house you love, firstly, and not worry about, it being some sort of a commodity like a fridge or a car or whatever, and you're waiting for the right time.
I love that, Doc. We're going to have to say that again for us. Sorry, Doc.
Well, isn't it about, the place you love where you're going to live your life? Isn't it about picking that first, not worrying about, is it the right time or not? I mean, you're going to be living there for what, 6-10 years at least?
No, they might move every 2 years if these millennials. No, I'm only joking, Doc. But you've nailed it there. It's your home. Now, I think there is a bit of perspective of Australians now that realizing that homes have done really well. We're almost assessing our home transactions as if it's an investment, and we're blending emotion with logic now.
Yeah, but it's all got to start with emotion. Certainly, Graham, if it's your home. I mean, it's not a house, it's not a unit, it's a home, which is where you're, and we are talking about home, owner occupiers here, where you make your decision, based on the suburb, the type of property, and the location, in terms of capital city, whatever. That you're going to be, raising a family or continuing raising a family in. That's the first point of call. Now, if you snooze, maybe you lose because you can't have the choice that you had in the first instance because you're trying to play the market.
Everything you've got on screen, Doc, and we've got tight supply, money solution, but people do have to consider. I'm seeing it every day in the finance world that as rate increases occur, people's borrowing capacity is diminishing, as you said earlier in the session. So they're getting priced out of the market, even if property values don't decline or do decline a little bit and they think they get a bargain. If we have another 2 rate rises at the same time the market subdues, they hope, or the media says, they're going to get priced out of the market. They'll lose the capacity to borrow.
Yeah, well, every interest rate rise potentially is an interest rate fall in the future, Graham.
That's true.
We know that interest rate rises have a moderate effect on house price changes, whereas interest rate falls have a strong effect on house price changes. People tend to sit on their hands when rates are rising.
That's an interesting one, Doc, because a couple of podcasts ago, you actually gave me some data, and I don't know the exact number, but you said when values subdue and decrease due to rate rises, and I can't remember if you said 4 or 5, but you did say something to the effect of when rates decrease, the growth rate of property values far outstrips the rate at which it decreased during the rise. Is that right?
Well, we can see that with the latest data, Graham. Even if we get, and we will get, significant falls in prices this year in Melbourne and Sydney, maybe the word significant really only relates to Sydney. But the other capitals will all record growth, with the exception of Melbourne. But if we look at the 4-year trends, growth over the past 4 years has been spectacular, even with the falls that we get.
Sydney will clear 30% growth over that period after a fall.
Let me go to the slide. When we look at those rises versus falls, Graham, we can see here over the past 4 years, and we can see they're the predictions for this year. And we're seeing Sydney down by around about 9% this year, Melbourne down by about 6%, but Brisbane up 4%, Adelaide up 10%, Perth up 3%. The national number there is down by 4%. And of course, that's mainly reflects what's happening in Melbourne and Sydney, Graham. But yeah, look, so Sydney's really the market with the most significant declines this year. But as we've said, we're now starting to see some positive signs about the Sydney market. But if we put those all together, Graham, that's what we get over 4 years.
And that's so Doc, this slide is factoring in Sydney and Melbourne taking a slight hit this year.
Yes.
That's the net 4 year. So we've got Sydney up 33.7, Melbourne up 24.2, Brisbane up 40.8, Adelaide 41.4. Even our friends over on the WA, Perth up 21.8.
Yeah.
And nationally, an average of 32.7.
Yeah, that's right. So, is this doom and gloom, Graham? I'm not sure.
Woe is me, Doc. I think I'm going to have to quit financial services and real estate. It's all doom and gloom.